I remember saying a couple of years ago that the live service games would eventually shut down and it would be sort of like a catastrophic event. Of course, I didn't know what I was talking about back in the day, but seeing everything unfold up to this point and seeing how literally every single week there's a new game that's being shut down, I'm starting to think it might be some sort of prophet, some sort of Nostradamus writing in the wall, or not. Anyways, today I just want to mention that there's another game that's being shut down, and no, it's not a battle royale. Today we're talking about Knockout City, which is actually a pretty cool and interesting concept of a game. It's a 3v3 dodgeball elimination game, and honestly, I remember seeing it when it first came out, and I saw it and I was like, oh cool, that looks like such a cool concept for a video game. I might want to check that out eventually. And then I never did. And I think I know why that's such a recurring thing that happens with video games lately. But before I mention that, I do want to talk about how Knockout City is doing things right. They're shutting down the game, yeah, but they're not shutting it down like how Rumbleverse is shutting down, or Apex Legends Mobile, or Spellbreak, or Hyperscape. They have their own way of doing it, and it's awesome. Every single game should probably just follow this example. So on the website for Knockout City, there's a blog post called The Future of Knockout City, where they're basically just talking about how the game's gonna shut down. It's gonna die. But what they're doing that's very different from every other game is that they're leading up to the shutdown with a bunch of events, which is weird. They have a bunch of events and they have a whole new season that's going to happen at the end of February all the way up to like June 6th, which is the massive day of shutdown. And it's really weird that they're actually doing this because every other game that I've seen up to this point, there's one message and the same message repeats itself over and over again. It's always like, hey guys, sorry, there hasn't been updates in months. Sorry about that. We're gonna shut down. Sorry. So before the shutdown happens, there are a ton of updates in the store. We've got a jam-packed season 9 full of all amazing new content and even a private server version on PC, so Knockout City can live on forever. So they're going the Spellbreak route and basically just going like, sorry that this didn't work out, but here. Honestly, that just warms my heart, the fact that they're doing that. It makes me really happy. I got the chance to play the game for the first time on stream the other day, and I'm not gonna lie, it was actually really, really fun. But the fact that Knockout City is just so different, so way far off from left field, I really didn't have anything to compare it with, and I never really once thought about like, oh, this is fun, but I could be playing this better version instead. No, this is like completely different. And I guess that could have also been the reason why it ended up shutting down in the first place, because like I've mentioned before, people like the tried and true formula. They don't like to play things that just veer off to the left side. And this game is probably like the prime living example of that concept. And despite being so different from every other genre that's out there, Knockout City just suffered the same fate as every other live service game that's happening right now, where you need to pay to sustain the servers, and you need that constant income of money in order to be able to afford your staff and your development team, and to just keep the game running per se. And if you have a massive spike in players, but then you have no way of retaining, even if it's a little percentage of that, your game eventually just dies down and dies down and dies down until the point where well, you need money to survive, and if you're not making money, what are you doing here in the first place, right? But I actually have a theory why this happened, and I want to share this theory with you because it's something I've seen on Fortnite, and it's something I've seen on Apex. I don't really play that much Call of Duty, so I don't know if Call of Duty's doing it, but a lot of these games that are coming out, they have really interesting concepts, or, they just stand out because of how crazy or how different they are, but I think people don't care so much about that anymore. People are more invested in the story. I feel like a game needs to have a story for them to feel that sort of connection, that emotional attachment to it. And that's something that Apex Legends, for example, does very well, because Apex Legends is all about the story and the different characters with the different interactions, and everyone has a backstory and everyone has something that they want to see happen in the future. So there's a reason for people to keep coming back. You can't just simply rely on good mechanics and fun gameplay anymore. You need to have that sort of story. And I think that one little aspect of the storyline makes the difference between a game succeeding and a game failing, because despite the fact that Apex gets so much hate from the players, I've never actually seen a game get so much hate from the people that play the game consistently. Despite all that, people still keep coming back. Every single season, they want to see what happens. I mean, yeah, the gunplay's the same. Yeah, you have a new gun here and there. But people really care about what happens with the legends. So going back to Knockout City, Season 9 is going to kick off, and it's going to last for 12 weeks, with 6 back-to-back events featuring some of the most creative cosmetics yet. Despite the fact that they're doing all of that from February all the way to June, they're not taking any more money. All real money transactions are going to be removed starting February 28th. So all that stuff that they're doing at the end, they're really just doing it for the love of the game, which that's cute. It's like you can even tell that the people who made this game, which is Velen Studios, they really poured their hearts into this thing, man. It's not like they're just like being forced to do it, you know, when you're just doing it out of a job and it's just like, well, it's time to quit, whatever. Later, guys. No, this is completely different. There's a completely different feeling here, a different sensation, and the best part is that, yeah, Knockout City is gonna die. You can still play it and live on with it, but Velen Studios themselves said something really important. They said that it's not the end. You know, they're taking this as a learning experience and using all those elements to sort of just bring it back in a different way. Sort of like how Rumbleverse mentioned it, that it might not be the end of the Rumble world, whatever it's called. No, they actually have plans to keep making new games, but they just don't have the necessary funds to keep going with this one, you know? So you might see Knockout City come back in some other way, whether it just, like I said, it might not be a 3v3, it might be a battle royale, gross. Whatever opportunity that they see that they might be able to succeed in, or just like ride the wave of this new genre of game that pops up, I'm pretty sure they'll find a way to just stick Knockout City like right there. Like, hey, that sounds cool, but what about adding dodgeballs? And well, like I mentioned earlier, if you want to play Knockout City, I played it for the first time ever, literally a couple of days ago, and it's really fun. Go with friends, check it out, play some games. Realize that just because it's not the best and the most popular game out there right now doesn't mean it's not good. There's something going on with a bunch of these live service games that out of nowhere, a lot of them are just shutting down. And well, that's kind of why I always speak against live service games. I've been saying it for years, live service games, yeah, they're cool. It's an interesting concept, but they're finite. You know, they will die at one point. And we're seeing like a giant wave of that happening like non-stop with, I already mentioned these names, Hyperscape, Velbreak, Rumbleverse, I have a list. I have a list. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to talk about this today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Go play Knockout City, please. Enjoy it. And I'll catch you later.